All right, everyone, welcome back to Crypto Brain. Over the past few hours, the XRP community has been flooded with one of the biggest discussions we've seen in recent weeks. Social media has exploded with claims linking Donald Trump, an $80 million XRP narrative, and the future of crypto regulation. Within hours, the story spread across the community, leaving thousands of investors asking the same question. Has something significant happened behind the scenes, or is this simply another wave of speculation? But wait, that isn't even the most important part of today's story. While social media has been focused on the $80 million XRP discussion, many experienced investors believe the real development is happening somewhere else entirely. Behind the headlines, institutions aren't watching rumors, they're watching regulation, blockchain infrastructure, and the legal framework that could determine how trillions of dollars eventually move across digital financial networks. And if the current institutional narrative proves to be correct, the biggest catalyst for XRP may not be a viral headline at all. It could be regulatory clarity. That's exactly what we're breaking down today. So make sure you stay until the very end, because the institutional picture becomes far more important than the social media narrative itself. If we're completely honest, the biggest opportunities in crypto have often appeared when the majority of investors were looking in the wrong direction. History has repeatedly shown that retail investors chase price, while institutions build infrastructure. Perhaps that's exactly why discussions surrounding the Clarity Act, regulatory developments, and the XRP ecosystem have become increasingly important over recent months. The first thing we need to understand is that regulatory clarity isn't simply important for politicians or lawmakers. It's important for banks, it's important for asset managers, it's important for payment providers, and it's essential for institutions planning to move billions or eventually even trillions of dollars through blockchain-powered financial infrastructure. This is where the entire conversation begins to change. Many analysts believe that until clear legal frameworks exist, large financial institutions will continue taking a cautious approach. Their hesitation isn't necessarily about blockchain technology itself. Instead, it's about legal certainty, compliance requirements, and operational confidence. That's why the market's attention is gradually shifting away from short-term XRP price movements and towards the broader environment that could eventually unlock institutional adoption on a much larger scale. However, the biggest question still remains unanswered. Once genuine regulatory clarity arrives, will financial institutions finally accelerate their adoption of blockchain infrastructure? Or has the market already priced in expectations that reality may struggle to meet? That single question is creating one of the biggest debates inside the XRP community today. On one side are investors who believe regulatory certainty could unlock the next phase of institutional participation. On the other side are those who believe adoption will remain gradual regardless of legislation. Either way, one thing is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. The conversation is no longer centered purely around price. It's centered around infrastructure. It's centered around compliance. It's centered around institutional confidence. And it's centered around how tomorrow's financial system may eventually operate. Whether that future ultimately benefits XRP more than any other digital asset remains uncertain. But one fact is becoming increasingly clear. While millions of retail investors continue watching daily price charts, institutions appear to be preparing for something much bigger. And perhaps that's the real story investors should be paying attention to today. Not the viral $80 million XRP headline itself, but the institutional developments quietly unfolding behind it. As always, remember that markets move on facts, regulation, and adoption, not just headlines. Viral stories can create short-term excitement, but long-term value is usually built through real infrastructure, real utility, and real institutional participation. That's why it's so important to stay informed, think critically, and never make investment decisions based purely on speculation or social media trends. If you found today's breakdown valuable, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to Crypto Brain, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest institutional crypto analysis. I'd also love to hear your thoughts, so let me know down in the comments. Do you believe regulatory clarity will become the biggest catalyst for XRP, or do you think the market is still missing an even bigger story? Thanks for watching, take care, stay informed, stay disciplined, and as always, do your own research. I'll see you in the next video.